thank you, West Palm Beach, for having us. Lois Frankel, one of your congresspersons for this area, and I have my mayor, Mayor James, here with me. Thank you, Mayor West Palm Beach, and thank you for being here. Well, listen, I think we all know this has been a horrendous year of stress, anxiety, and hardship for millions of Americans, and I am so happy to say that relief is on the way, more relief, big relief. Yesterday, Joe Biden, yesterday, the day before, he signed an historic rescue package, which I am so proud I had an opportunity to vote for. And Mayor, I've been in the state legislature, a mayor and a member of Congress for several years now. This was the best piece of legislation I have ever had the privilege of voting for, I will tell you that. It's going to get vaccines into the arms of Americans, our children safely back to school, money directly into the pockets of working families, and it's going to help people get back to work, because we're going to especially help our small businesses. And then there's lots of other things we're doing. And the other thing what we're going to talk about today is the money that's going to come back to state and local governments that's going to keep our cities, our local governments working for everyone. I think people sometimes take a little bit, they forget, they don't realize that the drinking water they're getting, or if they call the police or the fire, where those services are coming from. And those services have been disrupted all over the country. Revenues have been down about 20% all over the country. It's maybe a little not as bad here yet. And in anticipation that with people unable to pay their property taxes, the next 2 years will really be a challenge. And so we're bringing back in this package about $290 million to Palm Beach County, and over $400 million to our schools. And then there's another about $200 million to our local cities, including West Palm Beach. I say $25 million for West Palm Beach. So this is a critical support to keep essential workers afloat and working. And with that, I'm going to introduce our Mayor James here, and to talk about the impact of this pandemic on the cities. And I know he's going to thank me for this package.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Congresswoman. And you're absolutely right. I am going to thank you from the bottom of my heart. A very, very special thanks to you for working so hard in Congress on behalf of the city of West Palm Beach. And Lois, you are indeed one of West Palm Beach's #1 champion in Washington. And we truly appreciate everything, not only on this bill, but you're always there for us. We owe you a debt of gratitude for the role that you played in making the American Rescue Plan a reality. The American Rescue Plan will serve as a booster shot, if you will, to cities adversely impacted by COVID-19. Indeed, for some cities, it will be a lifeline. In 5 days, on March 17th, it will be exactly 1 year since I declared a state of emergency for the city of West Palm Beach due to COVID-19. We remain under that state of emergency declaration even today. Since COVID first swept through our community, more than 122,000 Palm Beach County residents have tested positive for the virus, and unfortunately, more than 2,500 Palm Beach County residents have died. Businesses have been crippled. Many nonprofits are reeling, and service organizations remain overwhelmed due to COVID-19's drastic, sudden impacts. Also impacted were municipal governments, including the city of West Palm Beach. When COVID-19 first hit, it wasn't the federal government on the front line of the fight. It wasn't Tallahassee on the front line. It was the cities on the front line, and we still are, even today. Often, citizens' only personal interaction with government is through their cities. Cities such as West Palm Beach were there to connect residents and business owners with the help needed during what was a very difficult time for so many. Through our COVID response unit, believed to be the first of its kind in the nation, we were there to provide much needed programs and services and to meet our residents' most basic needs. We were there to provide food and diapers, housing and rental assistance, short-term business loans, homeless assistance, testing, assistance with completing applications for SNAP benefits and reemployment, public information, and so much more. The City of West Palm Beach was the first government in this area to get assistance funds flowing into our business community even before CARES dollars arrived. We were there, and we will continue to be there to ensure that no one is left behind as our community continues to recover from COVID-19. There was a lot that we were doing and are continuing to do, but you know there's also a great cost to all of that work. COVID's unexpected impacts to cities were and remain catastrophic for city budgets. For example, as the City of West Palm Beach budgeted for the 2021 fiscal year, we faced a $10 million general fund shortfall due in large part to the loss of $7 million in revenue. When events like Sunfest are canceled for 2 years, when no one is parking in your city garages, when you lose state sales tax revenue because people have stopped shopping or spending, if even for a brief time, there's a significant financial hit. As we look forward toward fiscal year 2022, more than likely we will not be at the same revenue levels as pre-COVID. As the Congresswoman just mentioned, there may be those who do not or cannot afford to pay their property taxes. Meantime, we were forced to spend unbudgeted funds on the emergency. As an example, in the last year, we have easily spent more than $1 million on personal protective equipment, or PPE, for our first responders, and on COVID-19 testing, and to pay overtime to backfill the positions of employees who were out sick. While we are still quantifying the financial loss to our city due to COVID-19, the virus's impacts to the city's budgets have been disastrous and remain challenging for us. That's why the American Rescue Plan, which gives direct funding to local and state governments, is so important to our city. We've been informed, as the Congresswoman pointed out, that we can anticipate receiving an estimated $25.3 million. We are pleased and so grateful and excited to be receiving these funds because they will be a major, major help. The funds can be used by cities to respond to the public health emergency or its negative impacts, including assistance to households, small businesses, and nonprofits, or to aid impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. Funds can be used to provide premium pay to eligible workers and to replace lost revenue or to make infrastructure investments. Now, right now, it's too early to tell how the funds will be applied in our city, but we will determine how the money can be used after analyzing details of the regulations. I would like to see these funds replace our $7 million of lost general fund revenue. These funds will help us continue to provide the services that our citizens so deserve: libraries, parks and recreation, events, sanitation, and so much more. I would also like to see some of it go back into our community to help businesses, organizations, and residents. Potentially, the funds could help us forego any major staff or service reductions, but again, it is too soon to tell. I'm greatly optimistic about the direction our community is heading and overwhelmed by the resilience our city has shown this past year. Our community is starting to get healthy again, and so too is our city. But we are far from out of the woods. It's going to take us some time to return to normal again. The funds from the American Rescue Plan Act will certainly be a help. And again, we are so excited to have them. Thank you again, Congresswoman Frankel, for helping to bring these funds to the city of West Palm Beach. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? We'll go up one at a time. Yeah.
Since you just spoke in there, do you have a number? What is the actual cost that the city has spent on COVID expenditures and assistance?
On COVID expenditures and assistance, well, we spent at least $1 million on PPE. There are some other items, obviously, that we spent that I don't have that number for now. Even as we look at what we were trying to distribute to the businesses through our grants program, et cetera. But I would say it's easily at least another $1 million, easily.
But the general fund was $10 million short this year?
Yeah, $10 million short in terms of we had $7 million decrease in revenues and about $3 million in increased expenditures. I'm sorry?
Expenditures unrelated?
Many of those were related to COVID, absolutely. Anything else for me before Congresswoman? Okay, I'll step back. Lois?
Well, I would ask you a question.
We're just trying to be socially respectful.
Okay.
Going back to the rescue plan.
Yes.
What do you think is the most important component, especially when it comes to cities? Because there's a lot of things that are budgeted in that plan.
Yeah, well, I think what's most important about it is we've given a lot of flexibility so that the money's coming back to the cities by formula, the CBDG formula that's used around the country, and then it's going to be pretty much left up to the cities to responsibly use that money as they see fit. So I think that's the most important part of that.
In terms of the rest of the plan, the various components, some money goes to schools, some
Yeah.
money goes to cities. What do you think is the most important general category?
Well, I'll tell you what, we get the most phone calls in my office. You ask me what's the most important. I would say top of mind for many is the vaccines. There's enough money in this rescue package to fulfill the president's promise that he made yesterday that everyone's going to have an opportunity to get a vaccine by May. There are billions of dollars in this package to make sure we have the infrastructure to get those vaccines out. And then, of course, the financial assistance to so many people who are hurting, the $1,400 per individual for most Americans, the food assistance, the mortgage assistance, and very importantly, help with health insurance, either paying people 100% their COBRA payments, or we've expanded how much people can get for Affordable Care Act in the time which they can sign up. So there is I believe enough assistance in here to get this country to, as the mayor said, a boost to get us through to the fall, so that as we return to normality and people get back to work, people will be on their feet.
Some people say that the cost of this rescue plan is so enormous that really the government is going to put itself into debt, and the future generations will be paying us forever, and there's a lot of that in the actual rescue plan.
Well, yeah, thank you. I'm glad you asked that question. And let's start by saying that every leading economist in this country has said, go big on this package. People are hurting. Let's talk about the children's future. Because for me, this package really is about the children. What is the future of a child if he or she's not in school? And if we can't get them back to school safely? What's the future of a child if they're going to bed hungry every night like so many are? What's the future of a child if their parents can't get back to work because the child care industry has been decimated, or because the parents don't have jobs? So if we don't get people on their feet today, our children are not going to have a future tomorrow.
And most people agree that this will cause the economy to respark because people will have some extra money, the ones that are getting the actual payments, to spend and to get businesses
Yes.
on their feet. But the other portions that don't have anything to do with COVID, I mean, did you have thoughts about that at all?
Well, I'm not sure which you're talking about, but think about it. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of businesses have closed all over this country and are still threatened. There is a lot of funding in there for these small businesses to get back on their feet, which we need jobs for people. As we get vaccinated, we come out of this pandemic where we can safely go back to work, our kids back in school. You need to have jobs for people. And so I think the mayor really said it best. If we don't crush this virus, we're not going to be able to get people back to work. And everything's been affected here, right? Everything in this city. It's not like, hey, but is the sanitation are garbage trucks related to pandemic? Well, yes. Because if the property taxes are not being paid, if the gas taxes have gone down and there's less revenues for the city, guess what? There's no one to pick up your garbage. So every part of our life has been affected by this pandemic, and I am very proud and very happy about this relief package. I told someone yesterday, if I did fly home on a plane, but I was so happy about it, I think I could have just flown home myself.
Any indication whether the president or vice president would come down and try to sell the plan themselves here?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard. Yeah. I don't know if you heard this question. Will the president and vice president be here? We certainly would welcome them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody else? We thank you very much for being here, and I think, Mayor, you have quite a few different facilities out here, right? Why don't you, if they wanted to take their camera, because you got sanitation. I know there's water.
We have fleet out here. What else we have, Josh?
Public utilities and police has a radio shop out here.
All right, so police has a radio shot out here. Utilities has
Police facilities.
fleet facilities,
Yeah.
sanitation,
Utilities.
and
Underground public utilities, and then we have street maintenance right here in the traffic sign shop.
yeah, we call this the complex. The complex, because it houses so many different city departments. And each and every one of these departments has felt the effect of revenue loss because of COVID. But this is the heart of operations for our city. Not a lot of people get a chance to see this, but the ladies and gentlemen who work here work so hard each and every day. And you could tell by the nature of the jobs, they couldn't do this remotely. All right, so they had to come into work, staggered shifts, but they didn't have the luxury of just sitting at home and doing it remotely. And so many of our city operations require people to be present and to be there. And you know, they are heroes for doing what they have to do day in and day out during the midst of a pandemic, and we're so appreciative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all very much.